y'all, welcome back to my channel, Chillinwithlanda, and today I have another story time. But you already know, before I get into it, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, leave a comment and like the video. That will help me grow. I would really appreciate it. And if you're returning, hey, let's go ahead and get into this story time. So, y'all, this story did take place back then because, of course, most of my most juiciest stories takes place back then. Around this time, I was staying in that apartment, my first apartment, and I was working at Macy's. If you watch my previous story times about my friend Red, who stayed in those apartments with me, she was like my road dog, my friend. I wouldn't say my best friend, but she was my friend. We did a lot of things together. We hung out together because she stayed in the same building. Let me just give you like an insight of how our life was. Well, my life was at that time. We would we barely made it. Minimum wage around that time, this was years ago. I was making about $7.90, maybe $8.25 an hour, working in the women's shoe department at Macy's. Red, she was working at Burger King at the time, and she was making about the same amount of money. We barely was making anything. So once we paid our little rent back then was maybe, I think my rent was $7.95, and so was hers. It was for a 1 bedroom, so we paid around the same amount for our apartments. We paid our rent, but we were struggling for money. We would eat a lot of noodles. We would eat a lot of fast food, dollar menu items. We would go to our siblings' homes. My auntie did stay in the same apartments, so I did a lot of grocery shopping, quote unquote, at my aunt's house. She did the same at her mom's house. We got it how we lived. Things was a little rough at the time. We was just starting up in life, and that was that. Me and Red would hang out often. Like I said in other story times, we would hang out all the time. When me and her was off, I would go to her house. We would sit on the porch, talk, listen to music, just do what girls do. This particular day, we're going to call this guy in apartment buildings, we're going to call him Yak. I don't know. He was tall, light skinned. He also was a twin. I had a slight crush on him. He was kind of handsome. And he was quiet, but I think he was kind of sneaky. The reason why I think Yak was kind of sneaky, because although he was quiet, I would see him gambling a lot, shooting dice. He would be posted up at the corner store a lot. He would be hanging around a group of guys a lot in those apartment buildings. So I just gathered that he was kind of sneaky, but he was kind of quiet and he was kind of handsome. Me and Red was sitting on the porch one day. We were both off of work, and I can see coming down the walkway in the apartment building, I can see Yak strolling down the apartment, and he approaches us, and he was like, "What's up, Red, and what's up, Londa?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm flirting, but I'm not flirting too hard. I was always a shy girl, so he just say what's up to us, and he keeps going. Me and Red, we were sitting on the porch for quite some time, maybe an hour or two, maybe even three, listening to music, chilling. And coming through the gate again, I can see Yak coming back. And he was with some guys. And he came and approached us again. And he asked me, "Do you want to make some money?" And instantly, when somebody said, "Do you want to make money?" it's only one or two things. It's illegal or it's illegal. Am I wrong? I don't think so. So I instantly said no, because I don't want no parts in it. Scam city, and I don't want no parts of it. Anybody asks you, "Do you want to make money?" Say no. I said no. But Red, she said yeah. She wanted to know what was the tea. So he goes to tell her that, "Well, what kind of bank account do you have?" And instantly again, I'm like, "Oh no, hell no. It's scam city." So I'm nudging Red, and I'm just like trying to warn my girl that, "Hey, this is scam city, girl. This isn't what you want to do." She's a big girl. She can do what she want to do. Red, she continued talking to Yak, and I'm sitting there listening. And he's like, "Well, what kind of bank account do you have?" And she's like, "I have Wells Fargo, blah, 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 blah." And he just lit up like a light bulb. And I just knew that she was going to get jacked in the end. I just knew that I was so smart. I just knew that anything dealing with a bank account, it was just scam city, and I was not down for it. So I'm sitting there listening to them two talk, and he's asking her this, and that, and will she do this, and whatever. And hey, that's what it was. So Yak asked me, he asked me again, he was like, do you want to make some money? And I said, no, I'm okay. I'm not interested in that. He didn't pressure me. Time goes on. He Yak and Red, they must have made some arrangements. So again, me and Red is hanging out. And she asked me, do I want to go with her, ride with her? And I'm like, sure. And so I go up to Red apartment building and she's getting ready and she talking to me. I'm like, girl, so what we about to get into today? And she like, we're gonna ride with Yak and his friends. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just riding with y'all. That's okay. And she was like, girl, I'm about to make some money. He promised to put some money in my account, some thousands of dollars in my account, and he gonna give me this much amount and this and I can't remember the amounts, but he pretty much said he was gonna put a couple thousands in her bank and he will give her some money. And again, I'm trying to tell her like, yo, this is a scam. You should not do this. Like something is going to happen to you. You should not do this. This is bad. She was she was dead fixed on what she wanted to do. Again, she was a big girl and I guess she really just needed this money and it was really no talking her out of this situation. And now the whole time she's getting ready telling me about these plans that she's going to go with Yak to do to get this money. In my head, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh girl, you dumb. Like you about to get scammed, thinking I'm so smart. And you guys are gonna see why I thought I was so smart in the end. Because and in my head, I'm just like, you should not do this. And I'm also telling her, like, girl, you should not do this. Like, And she made up her mind, y'all. So we getting ready and that's what it was. Eventually Yak called her phone and we walk outside. Y'all. So we get into the car with Yak and I didn't mention that it was Jack in the front seat. Some guy was driving the car. Never seen him a day in my life. And it was like four other girls in the back seat. And yes, we all squished and we piled up in this back seat to go do, I guess, cash some money for whoever. And so we were on the way. And so the whole time I'm just like, Red, girl, I don't think you should do this. So y'all, we went about maybe I don't know, maybe 20-30 minutes away from where we stayed in apartments. The whole time the driver, he's not looking at us, he's not talking to us. Yak is in the front seat and he's like kind of talking to us and kind of giving us the well, just talking. And well, I won't say us because I didn't participate in this. The other girls, he was giving them the rundown on what to do. you know, I guess they were supposed to go get something out of the bank, some cards, not money, but cards. And so I'm just sitting there, I'm listening, and the girl's just like, yeah, oh, girl, I'm about to go get my hair done. I need my toes done. I'm so serious. They were so happy. I'm about to go get my nails done. Oh, bitch, we finna go out tonight. It was like four other girls, including me and Red, in that back seat. And they was just bragging, so excited. And I'm just in my head thinking, oh, these girls are so dumb. They're sitting ducks. And so we get to the first bank, and Yak is telling the girl, she was like a little loudmouth. The whole time she was one of the braggers. She couldn't wait to go get her nails done, her feet done, with her little money that she was going to get. So Yak is giving this girl the rundown in the front seat, telling her to go in the bank, say this, say that, get them this, and say you want this card for that. And so whatever. So the first girl, we pull in the back of the bank. I don't know why I'm telling this, but I had nothing to do with this. So the driver pulls to the back of the bank and the girl gets out. And again, she's a loudmouth. So we pull in the back of the bank and she gets out twerking just loud. I guess she's so excited about money that was not even in her hand just yet. Anyway, she goes inside. Maybe 15-20 minutes later, this young lady comes out. She has her card. And we go to whatever. They keep doing their rounds or whatever. And the whole time I'm like, no, this is not for me. I'm thinking I'm so smart. Eventually, we get further out from where we stay. It's maybe like 2 hours later at this time. Now it is Red's turn to go inside the bank and go get her card. So it's like 2 hours later. We've been driving all day. The driver is very weird, very mute-ish. Didn't say too much to anybody, not even to Yak. Yak was really the one coaching the girls on whatever. I'm just enjoying the day. I'm off work. I'm just riding along. Just, it was just crazy, y'all. It eventually gets time for Red turn to go in the bank. She gets out, going to the bank. 15, 20 minutes later, Red come back out with her card, and he gives now mind you, he wanted some information from these girls once they got the card. They gave this guy all of the information to their bank accounts. So stupid, so crazy. And he gave them $200, y'all. So he promised these girls, including Red, to drop some huge amount of money into their bank accounts. And he only offered these girls $200. And again, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Red, you are so dumb. You just did all of this and you only got $200. And so now, remember how I told y'all I had a little crush on Yak? So once everybody did their little thing with the bank account situation, Yak, the guy dropped, the girls home, and it was time for me and Red to get dropped home, which we were the last ones because Yak stayed in the same apartments that we did, right? So Yak, the driver take us back to the apartments. Us three get out of the car. Red goes up to her apartment. She's ecstatic with her $200, child. Just so dumb. And, we break off. And so me and Yak is just walking down the sidewalk. And he's talking to me. So like I told you, I had a little crush on Yak. He was so handsome. Just, whatever. He's walking me to my apartment. We're talking. And we're just talking. And he was like asking me, am I sure if I wanted to do the bank account thing or whatever, I can make a little quick few $100s. And again, I'm like, no, that is straight Dread City. And I'm not doing it. You're not going to get me because y'all, come on now, y'all not dumb. Your bank account is going to get ruined when you do stuff like that. So I just kept telling him, no, 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 no. And he just putting his charm on me. And again, so I'm thinking I'm so smart because anything dealing with your bank account, I was just like, no. So I was, smitten by his handsomeness. And then eventually I was like kind of sucked into what he was telling me. And so I did think about it for a minute. I was like, maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe he likes me. Maybe he wouldn't treat me like those other girls because I'm just so special. You know what I mean? Just, maybe because I'm just so special, he just would not, do nothing. He won't do me no wrong. You know what I mean? So I eventually give in. And I gave it a thought for a minute. And I told him, I say, hey, I'll give it a thought and then I'll let you know. And he was hitting me with the, well, my guy, he want to get this done this week, trying to rush me pretty much, trying to get the answer out of me. And I kind of thought about it, but I kind of stood ground because I dated a lot of Haitians in my day. When I tell you I was vulnerable, but I knew about that duet. You wouldn't get me. Like, I just would not, I wasn't falling for it. Like, I wasn't falling for it. I just thought I was so smart. And so eventually, I tell him, I'll think about it. I'll get back to you with that information. And, we separate. He goes into his apartment. I go into my apartment and I call Red. Now, Red, she's excited about this little $200 that she got, child. So we on the phone talking, and she's just asking me what me and Yak talk about, and she's like asking me if she's going to do another round of these, whatever is going on because she won another $200. And I'm telling her, well, I don't know, girl. I'll talk to him. I'll let you know about this, and that. He asked me, did I want to do it, and I told him no. Okay, so this was like maybe a day later. I was getting off the bus. I used to catch a bus. I was getting off the bus and I seen Yak. And he again, I think this day he was actually on a bike. He was coming out of the corner store. I was getting off the bus and we was kind of meeting on the sidewalk area. Entering the apartment, and he stopped me. He was like, yo, what's up? Do you want to go ahead and do that little, the bank account thing and make you some, a couple $100s? And I'm like, again, no. I just was smart enough to know that anything to do with your bank account, girl, it's gonna get closed. You're gonna get messed up with that. So I was just like, no, Yak, I'm not cool with that. He kind of got a little attitude with me, y'all. He kind of got a little mad. So he kind of like picked his kickstand up on his bike and kind of rolled off on me real fast while I was talking in the middle of a sentence. So I was like kind of saying like, well, I think and he just rolled off of me. So I didn't really give a damn. Like, he was cute, but he wasn't that cute. Like I told you, I always seen him standing at the corner store, so that was kind of a turn off for me. So he was cute, but not that cute. I was not gonna chase him or be sad about it. Um, but like I was mentioning, Red was very desperate. Yeah, she was very kind of desperate for the money. She was kind of excited about the money. That's all she would talk about. Within that day or two that she had got her $200, she had spent it within like 2 hours of her getting it. She was just so excited though. I feel like the thrill of her just going in and getting something really, really fast, like quick money, it kind of was like a thrill to her. I'm not sure if she's done that before, but her doing that, just me riding and seeing the thrill of her doing that, it was just on another level. It was kind of like a high. You know what I mean? She kept asking me, did I want to do it? That I can get some money? Please just do it. Go ahead. We can get the extra money. This is all she talked about day in and day out from 2 days ago from when she had did the little thing with Yak, you know what I mean? And it was just crazy where it was just obsessive. She just wanted more money. And I don't think Yak was like, I don't know if she can do it again. I'm not sure how that worked, but he kept like was putting her off and she just could not do it again. She became a little frustrated and things like that. She would like walk up to his apartment, ask him when another round of things would happen, and I guess it just never happened for her. We're gonna fast forward a little bit and tell you how I thought I was so smart, but in the end I ended up getting screwed. Yeah. So one day I was at work. I was at Macy's. Like I told you, I worked in the women's shoe department, so it wasn't that serious. I used to work in the back, in the the back doing stock, so I wasn't on the floor around customers. I used to listen to my headphones. I used to be on the phone. I used to walk around as I pleased. I got to have as many bathroom breaks as I wanted. I pretty much just wasn't on the lockdown when I was working at Macy's, so I got to talk on the phone a lot, and I got to do, have a little freedom. So my point is saying that is one day I was sorting some shoes out and I got this phone call. Usually I don't answer phone calls from numbers I don't know, but something just told me to answer the phone call because it was from an 800 number. So I answered the phone and someone asked me, well, is this my name? This and that. And they said that this is from the fraud department. And because my name has a long story short, my bank account was been flagged and it has been on freeze, right? Now it was suspicious. Let me tell you why. I thought I was so smart looking at these girls and trying to warn Red about not doing this because it can mess up her account, and just thinking I was just so ahead of the game because I didn't want to participate. And I promise y'all I wanted to, because just like Red, I needed that money. I need that money. I really did, but I didn't. I really didn't. I stood on my business, y'all. I felt like a responsible young lady. I thought I was so smart. Um, but the phone call, it was not from my bank. At that time, I had a Chase Bank. The fraud department was calling from a TD Bank, fraud department. So that was kind of strange to me because I didn't have a TD Bank account, y'all. I had a Chase Bank account, and that was the only bank account I've ever had since my adult years. Like, that was literally the first bank that my dad set me up when I was in high school. I never had a TD Bank before, so I was very confused. Um, I did speak with the fraud department for a while, and they told me that it's a bank account in my name. A large amount of money has been deposited into that bank account, and it's frozen until further investigation. And so I was a little taken back by it, but I wasn't so afraid and like worried on it because they told me that they didn't tell me I had to pay anything. They just said it was frozen until further investigation. So instantly, when I hang up the phone, I was boiling because who the fuck opened a bank account with my information? Now, if you remember me trying my best to describe how antsy and desperate this girl was, Red, it's obvious. Um, Yak was the duet guy. He was the scam city guy, but he never had my personal information. He never had any access to me to have like my personal information, like my license or my ID or my social, anything. The only person that was desperate was Red, and she was like I told y'all, she was like my best friend. We would hang out in each other's apartments all the time, day in and day out. I would never think that she would go through my personal information and take it, excuse me, in order to scam me and get some money off of me. I don't know what she was thinking. So yeah, so I instantly suspected it was Red, because who else? Nobody else was around me. She was the only person I hung around. She was the only desperate one for that $200. So I called her on the phone. She didn't answer the phone. I walk around to her apartment. She didn't answer the apartment. This girl dodged me for like a week, y'all. Mind you, we would hang out every single day. Every single day. Even when we both had work, we would still go to hang out in each other's apartments like after work, like clockwork. Why is she not answering her phones? Why she's ignoring me? I Sometimes I would see the light on in her living room in her apartment, and she just simply would not open the door for me. So it's been like a week. She was ignoring me, and I just kind of let it go. I kind of let it go because I knew, what can I do? You know, that was my friend. She was kind of ignoring me. So it's like, I'm not going to lie, y'all. It's like a month passed by, maybe two at this point. I finally run into Red. And so it was a very awkward situation. I hadn't heard back from that bank at all. Like, they hadn't called me, sent me emails, anything. Um, I had run into Red, and it was very awkward. She was getting off the bus, and I was coming out of the store, kind of how me and Yak met that day, but opposite. And we made, eye contact. We did speak a little bit. It was kind of like what you wonder, how can I describe that? It was sort of like I don't know, you want to call it like a white air conversation, because the conversation was not about anything. It was pretty much like a hey, how you doing? Okay. So she pretty much avoided she avoided the situation. She act like nothing had happened. She act like she didn't get my voicemails that I was sending her. She act like she didn't see none of my text messages when we met that day. It was like nothing. She didn't receive any of my messages. She was just oblivious to what had happened. And I knew she took my information and went and set up a bank account with Yak. And I knew it because not only I had not talked to her, I hadn't seen Yak, y'all. We stay in the same apartment buildings, all three of us. I see Red daily. I see Yak every other day. And I hadn't seen either one of them for like a month. They were dodging me like dodgeballs. Like, I couldn't catch them. I couldn't catch them. Like, I don't know. So I knew she had to, it wasn't Yak who took my information. I knew it was her. She took my information and she was dodging me. When we seen each other, that was just a blank conversation. She acted like she didn't know what was up. And so did I. I act like I didn't know because I didn't no longer wanted to talk to her. So she acted like she didn't want to speak to me or bring up the situation. But here's the funny thing, y'all. I kid y'all not. Like, me and Red, we spoke a little bit after that. It took some time for me to speak to her again. We spoke, but I didn't hang out in her place as much anymore. I didn't talk to her on a personal level how I did anymore because I no longer trusted her, because I knew she had stole my identity and did what she did. And I'm not even sure how they did what they did. It's all kind of ways to do things. It could have been online. This girl could have had my social, anything. I'm not even quite sure. Um, it took a while for us to kind of like talk again and kick it again, but it definitely was not the same. I would not invite her in my apartment, and I didn't want to go in hers. When we hung out, we would just sit on the porch or we would sit on mine, and we kept the conversation. It was never personal anymore. I just told her whatever I would want anyone else to know about me, so just kept it on the surface level. And here's the funny thing about that. So I thought I was so smart by not trying to do the little scam thing and watching everybody else get in trouble. And I ended up getting scammed behind my back behind a friend that I thought, I can trust. She was desperate about a few $100s, and she got what she wanted, I guess, out of that. But here's the funny thing, how life worked. I won't say that it was a gift, but it wasn't a curse either. So I would say maybe 3-4 years later after that, I I received a letter from TD Bank saying that my bank account was not froze anymore, and they had sent me a check. So from that phone call, when they froze that bank account from the amount that was in the bank account, it had froze. Um, they had sent me a check with that amount from that was froze to me. It was just payable to me, so everything was just unfrozen. And I guess the investigation came to inconclusive. I have no idea. They mailed me that check and it was mine. It was all mine. So I never told her about it, of course. Why would I? Well, of course not. Why would I tell her? She snaked me, so I kept that secret to myself, and I enjoyed those couple $1,000s, and I had a good time. And our relationship was just never the same. I met new friends. Life goes on, and better believe I hold on tight to my purse and my pearls around everybody. I don't trust nobody. So yeah, y'all, that's the story of how I thought I was so smart, but still got scammed by my friend. And she got scammed too. So remember how I said we didn't talk? I didn't get personal with her after that, but she got personal with me. She did tell me that her bank account eventually got, frozen and shut down, and she had to pay that back. Yep. When you do that stuff to your bank account, that's what you have to pay back. She had to pay it back. And like me, I was sent the check. Um Oh yeah, and I think I did forget out the part when TD fraudulent called me and I did explain what happened, that I had no idea. I had no idea about none of this. So that's why I think it was frozen and it was under investigation too. Maybe they figured it out it wasn't me and they sent me a check and I had a good old time. And I never told either one of them what happened either, because why would I? But that's the story time, y'all. If y'all enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm so close to my 1,000 subscribers. I would really, really, really appreciate it. And I love all of y'all. Until next time, y'all know what it is.